Folk radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black. How you doing? Monday. Yeah, man. Okay. January 8th. This is Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. 8 days into the new year, just 357 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Okay. Yeah, man, it's Monday, back in the chair. Oh, what a great weekend we had. And you know, sometimes Mondays, you just never know what the week is going to bring, right? Well, today was one of those days. Tonight we were supposed to have very special guests, George Noory and Teresa Yanaros here. George Noory called right before the show tonight and gave me one of those I'm sick phone calls that he had to save his voice for Coast to Coast tonight, that he canceled all of his media for today. And I said, okay, all right, George, just this once. But he was believable and asked all of you to accept his apologies. He never does this, and he needs to save himself for Coast tonight. And, you know, Coast is 4 hours. And if you're sick, it's just, that's a bad place to be. So the show must go on for Coast. He's going to go and get that done. He's going to rest his voice today, and that's what he needs to do for the rest of the week. So we'll have him back on the schedule for next Monday. And there you go. And it's really true. He, you know, his voice, how do I say this? You don't know if somebody's faking. You know when you call into your boss and you just don't want to go to work, so now you got to fake like you're sick on the phone. How do you pull that off? When you know your boss isn't going to buy your story, but he has to because you're saying that you're sick. If you just called into work and went, you know what, I don't feel good right now and feel a cold coming on, I just want to stay home and rest, your boss goes, okay, cool, all right, see you. Okay, boom, you hang up and it's all good. It's when you call up and go, hey, man, I just don't feel, you know what, that's when it just, it's not believed, right? Okay, but no, George is sick. And I wonder if he's listening right now. He probably is. So he'll be back. He'll be here this coming Monday. Okay, but Teresa Yanaros is going to be here tonight. And what we're going to do tonight with Teresa is we're going to do the first hour of conversation, and then we're going to open up the phone line. So let's have some fun. There's a lot of fun, cool things to talk about. Of course, disclosure and some other stuff that I'm going to set the stage with here in a few minutes. Tomorrow night, Michael Cremo is back, and we're going to talk about, tomorrow night, our human origins. He is the very best. I cannot wait for that conversation tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Corey Good is here, and he's going to tell us about how we won the war in space. Corey and David have a release that they're going to do tomorrow on Divine Cosmos, and I think maybe spherebeingalliance.com, I'm not sure, but it will be on Divine Cosmos, talking about just that. So that'll be our prep for Wednesday night's show, is their release tomorrow. Thursday is another Fader night, and John Rappaport with his No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by open lines all night long. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio, Facebook, YouTube. You know what to do. Everything is Fade to Black, and you can click on those icons over at Jimmy Church Radio. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. You can do that over on the website. Very simple. All platforms, Apple, Androids. It is just $2 a month. And I think we have over 785 shows right there in the archives. You can follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can email throughout the show tonight, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Coming up now in just 4 short weeks is the Conscious Life Expo. That's our next engagement that we are doing February 9th through the 12th. So it is just 4 weeks away, 2018 at the LAX Hilton. Tickets and info are over at consciouslifeexpo.com. Teresa is going to be speaking there. She is here with us tonight, and you can come and hang out and meet Teresa at the Conscious Life Expo. Okay, and let's see, where am I? Don't forget about our membership section right there. You can become a Fadernaut, where we have the Bunker Cam. Hello, everybody out there in Bunker Cam land, and downloadable archives, T-shirts, hats, subscriptions, all of that stuff. It's right there over at jimmychurchradio.com. And visit all of our sponsors like Life Change Tea, getthetea.com, River Moon Coffee, New Pharma. All 3 of them will be at the Conscious Life Expo. So you can come and hang out. You can meet Ronnie yourself. You can meet Juanita and Jeff from River Moon Coffee yourself. Everybody has wanted to meet Chip Paul. Well, you can do that. Chip Paul of New Pharma at the Conscious Life Expo. And Ancient Life Oil, Sacred Skulls, New Mana, Food Storage, and Bearing Optics. All of their banners are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Okay, let's get this show cracking. We got a lot to do tonight. Happy birthday to today, by the way, Shirley Bassey. Every year, and when it's her birthday, I cannot wait to say happy birthday to Shirley Bassey, because I think for all of us, whether it doesn't matter, male, female, young, old, doesn't matter. We love Shirley Bassey's voice. She sang the theme songs for the James Bond movies Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, and Moonraker. She's absolutely amazing. She's 81 years old today. Happy birthday to Shirley Bassey. Now, our dead guy's birthday today, there's 2. Happy birthday to Elvis Presley, 1935 to 1977, died at the age of 42, game changer. And also today, happy birthday to David Bowie, 1947 to 2016, died last year at the age of 69, still way too early, both of them. And think about it, 2 game changers. You can pretty much count on maybe 2 hands. I'm going to go with 10. Because you can whittle it down where life changed, the world changed before and after somebody, right? And there is our Earth before Elvis Presley and after. You know, he was a game changer. He changed things. And the same thing with David Bowie. David Bowie was a game changer. Right? And I started to think about this. Just like Elvis changed the game 2 or 3 times. Changed his style, changed his thing, changed his look, and everybody followed him. And Bowie did the same thing, didn't he? He changed his thing. He was on his own, you know, and he had 3 or 4 different musical styles that set the path for everybody else. Think about that. David Bowie and Elvis Presley. And then, so now you got to look at it like this. David Bowie was born in 1947. And we always thought, right? We always thought that he was an alien. 1947. 1947. Did dude get dropped off here? Think about that. There's going to be some David Bowie fans out there that don't know what I'm talking about. And they're going to go, church, man, you're talking smack right now. What does that even mean? They don't get it. But you out there do. 1947, David Bowie appeared on planet Earth. And that's all I've got to say. Happy birthday, Bowie. On this day in history, OTD, 1642, it went down. Galileo dies in Italy. And he was the first person. Now, we got to remember this. We all, hold him up and we give him mad props. But we got to really stop and think about his significance. He was the first person to use a telescope to observe the skies. He discovered the moons of Jupiter, discovered the rings of Saturn, the sunspots on the sun, and our solar rotation. Think about that. Galileo, on this day in history, died in Italy. Fate or fact? Okay, here you go. I want you to write this down. A lycnobite, Lychnobite, a lycnobite is someone who sleeps all day and works all night. And that is a fact. And see, this is the deal. I am a lycnobite. I'm a lycnobite. Are you a lycnobite? Do you stay up all night and work and sleep all day? Because I do. I'm a lycnobite. Yeah, I like that word, lycnobite. Tonight, sitting in for George Noory, we have Teresa Yanaros, and she stepped in big time. George is sick. He'll be here next Monday. He needs to get his rest. And just let me tell you something. Nothing beats down the immune system than doing Coast to Coast, because I do it. When I host Coast, I'm from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Pacific time. But George does it from St. Louis. So he does it midnight till 4 a.m. So that means he's doing show prep from probably 8 p.m. until midnight, till the show's up, 4 hours, maybe more of that. You're working. Then you do your 4 hours of the show. Then you've got to wind down, and you are up, right? And you just wear your system down. You wear it down. He needs his rest. He's sick. He'll be back next Monday night. And so Teresa's going to come in tonight, do the full show. Very excited about that. And we're going to discuss disclosure in the media, our world, what's going on. And then I'm going to open up the phone lines for the second half of the show. Tomorrow night, Michael Cremo's here, and we're going to discuss our human origins all the way back to the beginning. And for Michael and his evidence and his presentation in his books, this goes back millions of years. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow night. Then Wednesday night, Corey Good is back. We're going to do pretty big announcement. They're going to do this tomorrow night tomorrow day with David Wilcock on Divine Cosmos. They're going to do a release about how we won the war in space. And we're going to talk about that on Wednesday night. Thursday is another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom, followed by open lines all night long. Well, today's a Monday, right? And you go through the weekend, you're doing all your stuff, you're preparing, and we work all weekend. And we got through all of that, and we're ready for a smooth week here on Fade to Black today. And we wake up. I got to clear my throat to say this. To Radio Vedushi, Jimmy Church. Yeah, it happened. Today, we got to see, we released it, it's out there, the TV commercials that are running over in Russia for our new show, Breaking Mysterious. And the commercials were great. And it's Russian. Remember, my in-laws and Rita and everybody around us here, Russian, right? Armenian, Russian. This is really cool and really fun. It's a big deal. It is. It really is. And I was just so happy for our family and our parents to see that, in Russian and you see the Russian language up on the screen like that. It's very, very, very cool. Very, very amazing moment. It was just surreal to go through that. But this is my point. As cool as that was, of course, we have been getting all day, well, what about the United States? What about the United States? And let me discuss this. I need to clear up some mystery for everybody out there. As hard as this is to believe, let me explain networks. The networks, any of them, ABC, CBS, Fox, all of that, the traditional stuff, and everybody else, and that goes with Netflix or History Channel or A&E, Discovery, Sci-Fi. Pick the network, even the minor network, like Hero, whatever that's called, or whatever. Even the smaller networks out there. DIY, whatever, the smaller networks. They run in secret. It's a tradition here in Hollywood. They run in secret. They don't care. They don't answer questions. They don't have to. They're not going to answer your questions. You can send them a million emails or tweets or whatever you want to do. Facebook. They don't care. They don't read. They don't react. They'll take your money when it comes to commercials. They want your viewership. They want that. They want the numbers. But as far as letting you know what they are thinking, they do not. They don't care. They don't care. They do not care. And it doesn't matter who you are, right? And unless you have, and this is a very serious statement, unless you have the top 1, 2, or 3 show on that network, they don't even take your phone calls. That's it. You are just a little piece of commodity, little piece of property to them that they are sticking in a rotation somewhere and figuring out if it works, and then they run with the show and whatever. But that's it. And how or who or what they place is up to them, and they never tell anybody. Also, you could have the number 1 show, the number 2 show, the number 3, and they move you from Wednesday night to Friday night. They move you from Friday night to Sunday night. They move you to Saturday night, and without even any explanation. And you just show up one day at your house and your phone's ringing, and it's a friend of yours going, dude, man, you're not on tonight. They moved you to Thursdays. What? Yeah. Well, trust me, that's the way that it works. You don't know that they moved your show. They don't know. You don't know if they've canceled your show. You find out if they've canceled your show from somebody else. It won't be because they call you or your agent. Your agent is the last to know. It's just the way that it is. So what is going on with Breaking Mysterious? Everybody wants to know. When did it go air in the United? I don't know. They told us, which we had to find out on our own from fans out there, and then we turn around and contact the network when we found out that it was going to air in Canada. And then we find out from the network, well, yeah, we're releasing it internationally. It's going into 4 markets right away, and then we're going to do this with it, and then it's going to do that. Well, what about the United States? Well, we'll get back to you on that one. They don't answer any questions. They wouldn't even tell us the other countries that it was going into. We had to find out about all of that through you. Because when it gets announced, it gets posted, shows up in TV Guide, and that's when people know the scheduling. That's it. Nobody knows, and the networks love it. It's a game. It's a game that has always been played and will continue to be played. Because right now, this is my take on things, and I just want all of you to understand how this is going on. Canada got it first. Great, right? They're to the north. And now you're second guessing things. You're okay. So they're going to do this, and they're going to test market. They're going to do, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. But so Canada got it first last month. Now it's rolling out now to Australia and the United Kingdom. Fantastic news, right? So it's going out there this weekend. So everybody in Australia, enjoy it this weekend. Enjoy it. You guys get it. You guys have got it next. The United Kingdom, it's right there. It's on the schedule. Boom, following Ancient Aliens. Great, right? And then Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark, Germany, Italy, New Zealand, and Russia over the next week and a half. Fantastic. And am I upset? No, listen. This is my take on this. I know the networks. The last thing I do is get upset about the networks. You can't do it. You can't control it. Whatever happens, happens. You just roll with the punches and just move forward. That's it, right? But listen, so many shows air here in the United States, fizzle and go nowhere. They don't go overseas. They don't go on different networks. They just die on the vine and they go away. I would say the majority, and this is 8 out of 10 shows, maybe 7. I'll take it down one notch. 7 out of 10 shows air the first episode. You got the whole season shot. First episode plays, season canceled. Just like that. There are no guarantees for anything. There isn't. You can shoot a whole season and it never gets aired. You get paid, if you're lucky. You get paid, but the show never airs. It'll air one episode and the rest of it doesn't. We have been very fortunate. So we've had, not only has the season aired, but they've already done marathons in Canada. And this is what's going on around the world right now. This is great. It's the international markets that always get ignored. We're okay here in the States. Our numbers are just fine. Spreading the message overseas like this and letting everybody around the world know about Fade to Black and the Fadernauts and what is going on here, because that's what the show is all about, is a great thing. I am so happy. I know it's going to air here in the States, and I don't care when it does, and whatever History Channel chooses to do, they choose to do. But I'm not tripping. I'm actually happy. Now, I don't have, nobody does, any USA dates yet. Rather than respond to everybody that is sending me email and text and asking, I don't know. So I need to make that perfectly clear. Come on, guys. Piracy is the only way for freedom and content distribution. Well, that's the other cool thing. That as it starts to trickle out and air around the world over the next couple of weeks, and we've got pretty good coverage when you consider, Canada and Australia, the UK, New Zealand, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark, Germany, Italy, New Zealand, Russia. That's huge. And then all of the abilities to replay also through apps and so forth. And then eventually, of course, it will be over on Amazon Prime and everything else, how they do the normal digital distribution through History Channel and their app. So it's all good, right? Totally happy, totally ecstatic. But nothing topped Radio Vedushi Jimmy Church. Nothing topped that. It was just a surreal day today. Also, this was the other thing. Suddenly, there's promo images have been released. There is other stuff that is now instantly out there and has been released that hasn't been out there yet. Now that this formal premiering is going on around the world, all of that stuff is there, and it's funny to look at. I don't know. Wendy just said, "What show is Jimmy talking about?" Yes, it's on Foxtel. Yes, it is. It's called Breaking Mysterious. Wendy, I see your tweet right here, and all of the promo materials are out there. And this is how I'm looking at it. The reactions from everybody for the show have been pretty favorable. But globally, what this show is about, I think the international markets get it. They understand it. Not saying that they wouldn't here in the United States, but this kind of material is exactly what is needed out there. And it's just interesting to me to see the edits on the Russian commercial because it's perfect. It's how I would have done it. It's totally cool. And I get it. And I understand the urgency of the narrator that's there and the editing and the impact and so forth. That they get the show, right? I'm totally happy for everybody. And I can't wait to get the reactions from everybody around the world and how happy they are with the show. Now, what says we have to hack Russia for their television? Yes, you actually can. I'll tell everybody right now, man, just go and get a VPN. Get a VPN and you can go and watch all these shows all you want in those international markets. I didn't say anything. All right, now the next thing I need to discuss before we get out of here. Disclosure. I watched Richard Dolan's piece on CBS, the interview that he has done, and I thought that the host, I can't remember her name, but handled it well, and her questions were pretty good. But here we are now, going into almost 4 weeks later. We're 3 weeks in, going on 4 weeks, to what I have been calling the day of disclosure, December 16th, 2017. And here we are in 2018, and we're starting to move forward with this. I have been monitoring a few websites for the UFO narrative around the world. And oddly enough, just about every major mainstream media website has got a UFO story there in one context or another. And I found that interesting. I don't know if I have ever seen that before. It doesn't matter what the context is. If it's, this interstellar object or exoplanets or ET contact or SETI or, going back to DeLonge, I would have to go to other websites for the exoplanet news. Go to space.com or discovery.com, science.com, and go to explore this stuff. To find the breaking news. It's not easy. It wasn't easy to do. Now, I have found it on every mainstream site. Somewhere on the homepage, on every site, there is something there about ufology. In some context, it's never been there before. And it hasn't gone away. I've seen it every single day. Now, what you should do, and this is what is fun, and then I'm going to get out of here, is during the show or after the show tonight, experiment a little bit. Go to your favorite pages. Maybe go to your local news page for what city you're in. Go to the mainstream stuff. Bounce around the world. Go and look, and you will find a UFO article somewhere on that page. It's very interesting, and you have to ask yourself, has this ever happened before? The answer is no. And I'm going to get out of here right now. When I come back, Teresa Yanaros is going to be here. All right? Oh, there's my audio. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's Monday on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'll be right back. Stay right there.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that. Life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA. The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Okay, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Teresa Yanaros is here. She is a multimedia enthusiast and a writer with a passion for uncovering the truth behind the headlines. She graduated from UTA with a BA in journalism. She's an advocate for spiritual enlightenment. She shares inspirational perspectives on her YouTube channel, Divine Frequency. One of the unique things about Teresa, when she told me this last year, blew my mind. Her family was stationed at RAF Woodbridge in 1980 during the Rendlesham Forest Incident. That is just crazy cool to me. But her recent projects include, she's a spiritual coach. She works on disclosure. She's outing of deep space atrocities, collaboration with the Full Disclosure Project and other souls aligned with her vision of actively seeking a positive co-creative future. And we're going to continue this disclosure conversation tonight with Teresa, and we're going to get her take on the end of 2017, awareness, and where we are headed into the future in 2018. And I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black our friend, Teresa Yanaros. Teresa, good evening.
Hi, Jimmy. How are you doing tonight?
I am fantastic. The question, it's Monday, right? The question is, how are you doing?
Living the dream, as always, Jimmy. Living the dream.
Living the dream. Thank you for stepping in for George tonight. And I was just like, oh man, what if? But thank you for doing that. That's being very professional. So let's do this tonight. I wanted to change things up. Let's talk for the first two segments, and then I want to open up the phone lines to everybody. Are you down for that?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Now, what did you think? Because of your position in the community, and you talk with so many, and you are teaching with so many. When this thing went down back in December, on December 16th, what did you think? Was it disclosure for you? What was your mood like?
I think that there are lots of different communities and people that are going to respond to disclosure in different ways. As far as it goes with our community, I think a lot of people were already kind of hip with what was going on. So it didn't seem like a huge disclosure, but to some, and I would say almost to most, it was a huge disclosure. So you're seeing this gap being bridged now between the people who already believe in these types of deep programs going on within the government and the other people who are maybe more asleep to these kinds of concepts. Maybe they're just separated from it. But when you see it go into the mainstream the way it's been going into the mainstream in the last few months, which is very exciting for everyone, it has changed. I mean, even my mother called me the other day and said, hey, they just mentioned disclosure on the news tonight. And it's getting exciting. So it is pretty cool.
What do you think the difference is, though, between the way that the alternative media has been dealing with it versus the mainstream? Or has it been the same?
I mean, I guess it seems like what's coming out in the mainstream now is very, I would say, similar to what has been going out alternatively. But I guess with the secret programs, it's finally starting to come out, which is great. And I think also with Tom DeLonge, that is kind of a trigger name for people in my generation because people love Blink-182. And so they just so happen to be more likely to open up and listen to a larger name like that when it comes to things like UFOs and suppressed technologies. So I think that's actually pretty cool.
Now, that's interesting that you bring up DeLonge. Well, of course, we would, eventually mention his name tonight. But last week, I don't know if you saw this, but myself and David Wilcock, we went out to dinner with Peter Tactrin of the band Hypocrisy and Pain, and also the head of the record label Nuclear Blast, right? Gerardo Martinez. Now, we are talking about two influential people in the music industry here, hugely influential, with millions and millions of fans and the bands that are on that label, right? But now we are sitting down and having a dialogue discussion with myself and Wilcock and these two gentlemen about disclosure and how their community and their fans, as well as the musicians, we can all, start to pull this all together, just like DeLonge has been doing. And it's a very interesting concept, isn't it? Because you just brought it up yourself. The fans of Blink-182, right? That's way outside of our alternative community. It's they don't know about divine frequency, right? We are talking about millions and billions of people out there. Never heard of Fade to Black. But once we start to tie these strings together, we're going to have a larger united community. Isn't that exciting?
It's extremely exciting, and it's happening. It's almost seemingly happening overnight. And I think what I'm really seeing in the younger generations is that they're getting ready to want to get involved, which I think that's a huge conversation to have, because you have all of this information that's been out there for a while now. It's finally being seeded into the mainstream. But the big question now is, how can the younger generations get involved? They want to do something about it. They already believe in extraterrestrial races. They get it. They've been raised in an environment that we already see that there is a lot going on behind closed doors that we are not being disclosed in the public eye. And so people are stepping forward. I'm seeing a lot of people reaching out to me saying, okay, I'm learning all this information. I need to talk to you. It's already happening. And I know I'm not the only one that's going through this. And so we need to stay strong, stay focused, and actually figure out what we're going to do next in bringing all this information out. in my opinion.
Yeah, that is the next step. And for me, with Peter Takrin of Hypocrisy, he's a fan. He's into this. He writes about it. That's one thing. So I understand but to have a head of a record company go, yeah, man, Corey Good, blah, 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 Richard Dolan, blah, blah,
Wow.
Linda Moulton. And so what that did for me, because I was blown away by that, I didn't have to force the issue and tell them or him about, these different important, people in our community. He's a follower. He is into this. And I was just like, it's amazing to me, these, the progress that we have made. You don't think people are listening, right? But they really are.
So this has been like really huge for you. What has this been like for you since December? Because I can only imagine.
Well, what it does for me personally, the way that I approach things is my comfort level has increased. Right? I never really cared about the critics, certainly inside of our community, that want to fight about the different aspects of ufology or the secret space program or awareness or dimensions or, whatever, crystals, because you're going to have that. But now those outside of the community are hearing about it, where if I'm speaking about it now, they're starting to have a foundation of knowledge. So we can communicate, and they know what we're talking about, at least a little bit, and their ears are open. And that's what I think is very, very cool for me. I mean, I've never cared, but I care even less. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And
that's really cool.
Well, and this is how have you, with the response with your community, with Divine Frequency, how have the comments been on YouTube and your email? Is the excitement up?
Well, I have a website that I run called thedivinefrequency.com, and it's alternative media, and then I funnel any of my YouTube videos through there. And I have to tell you, Jimmy, it's been insane what I've been seeing. The turnover on that. I mean, I just hit over 10,000 views on my website in the last 6 or 7 days, which is crazy. So people are really interested in this material. And since November, December time, I've really ramped up what I've been putting out there as far as original content, because I'm seeing just the insane need for disclosure, and people are wanting to really grasp it and understand what the heck is going on. And I'm really trying to speak to the millennial and younger generations to get that conversation started. To step into that. Oh, go ahead.
No. Finish. I thought you were done. You finish.
And to move, I was just basically about to say to move into a space of personal empowerment, because that's what comes next.
Well, and that was my question. Okay, very good. And my question is this. You, went through life, you went through college and journalism and all of that. You could have gone in the safe area of mainstream media. You could have gone there. You could have chosen that career path. You went the alternative media route. What inspires you to do that when you could have gone a whole nother path?
So I always connected to this concept that there was more truth underneath the surface. And this was because my family was stationed at RAF Woodbridge during the Rendlesham Forest Incident. So that was the basis of my existence. I came into a family that was already a part or there when this huge cover-up was going on. And then leading forward, I lived in Virginia during a time where, I don't know if you've heard about this, but the Seton miracles occurred, which this was in Time magazine and everything in, I think, 91. But there was a priest who was talking at my church, and there were 300 people who witnessed all the statues of Mary cry. And this didn't just happen once, it happened quite a few times. So I've been raised in an environment where there was a lot of magic around me. So I've had a lot of firsthand experience with this kind of unknown and bringing that into the conscious frame of mind. So it's been my passion to uncover the truth behind headlines. So when I went into journalism school, I really had a passion for that. And so it's just kind of expanded through Divine Frequency to this day. And my purpose and my vision is to help people start thinking about deeper meanings in symbols and archetypes all around us. And this is the magic I always speak of.
And today we have so many different choices and ways to get the media out. it used to be a typewriter, right? Or what have you. Now you have to focus every day on different, you've got a website, you've got to shoot video, you've got to consider audio, you've got the visual aspect with artwork. You've got all of these, now it is truly multimedia, and there's only one of you. Why would you choose that for a goal?
I'm quite literally living out what I know is my purpose. So what that looks like for me is waking up every morning knowing that I'm doing the great work. And that is all the motivation I need to bust my butt and keep doing what I'm doing. It is a lot of hard work, but it's worth it every step of the way. When I publish an article and I'm talking about things like the reason why I went into alternative media and how you can become empowered through discernment and learning how to assess data and keep your mind open and approach disclosure consciousness, what I call disclosure consciousness, then you can open up to the truth all around you and understand that there's always something more to learn. And there's always something to connect to that's larger than you, that resides within you. And so that's literally what I'm doing with every step that I take, and it feels really good.
Well, with discernment, the other big D, I like to call it the other big D. As you look at what went down on December 16th, what do you think the motivations were? Is it something that was a preemptive strike trying to control the narrative about something else that's about to blow? Is there another, what do you think the motivations were behind it?
I think that things are gently seeded. Well, and it could be a number of different things. I can give one perspective, but I'm not necessarily saying that I'm completely stuck to this one. But I think that things can be seeded into the mainstream so that they can be pulled back from, if something happens, they can say, oh, see, we put this in the mainstream. Like, we were disclosing this. So I think that tactic is used sometimes.
What's the other one?
I mean, there are lots of different ones, but I think that's probably the most likely.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of different scenarios here. If we just go with the word money, okay? Now, if it's the money motivation, is the money on the side of Tom DeLonge? Is it a profit and loss statement for his new company? Is it, is it motivated by money there? Is it motivated by money on the other side with the military industrial complex? Maybe they want to fund another program. Maybe they've got some other agenda. Maybe they want to make aliens the new ISIS, right? The new fight on terror, and they want to fund that. So that's just one aspect, the money aspect. Then we have the whole secret side. Maybe they want to start disclosing these secrets and starting to come clean. Maybe it's that. I don't know. There's probably 50 different things that we could sit down and go, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know until we get to the next round and how the government is going to stand behind this, or is it just going to be DeLonge on his own? And that's going to be very telling. This time around, I think it was both. I think it was the government and DeLonge working together, and that is the most interesting part. I just can't figure out why.
Right. And the hole goes very deep, and I think what it comes down to is the general public, when they start to see just how much money has been funneled into these secret programs, then people are going to get mad. So there's a whole level of finesse that goes into what actually is seeded into the mainstream. There's a lot of conversation that goes on behind closed doors about what's even going to be put into the mainstream. So there are layers upon layers upon layers of the deceit and the lies, and then the truths that are hidden within the lies into the mainstream.
And what about leading up to the disclosure, though? Of December 16th. Did you see this coming? You've been talking about disclosure in the media for a while now, but did you see this one coming?
I didn't. I was very surprised that when my mom came in and said, hey, come check out the news with me, and I come down the stairs and there they are talking about disclosure, and they're interviewing someone from MUFON, and it just hit so close to home. I'm standing there in my living room going, this is what I do every day. And now I'm watching the 7 o'clock news on Fox, and they're talking about it, and they're not making fun of them either. The anchors are sitting there with serious faces, and one of them even said, "Oh, well, we'll keep our eyes on this, and we're looking forward to hearing more about disclosure." It was very shocking to me.
Yeah, same thing. And now, did you go out? What was the response from those that were close around you, like your mom? Did she say, "Well, you know what? Of course, they were always there, but now I feel better about it"? You know, what was...
By the way, my mom says hi.
Oh, tell her.
Yeah, I said hi.
Okay. Tell her I said hi. But, yeah, you know, what was their response?
Well, it's been really fun to go through this whole process with my mom. She's so cool, and she's so open-minded, and she hasn't really been immersed in this community at all until I came into it, and I'm starting to talk about these things. And I come over one day, she said, "Teresa, what's this disclosure you always talk about?" And so we sat down and we talked about disclosure. And, you know, she asked me, "What's the secret space program?" I said, "How much time do you have?" And she said, "I got a bottle of wine." And so we sat down on the couch and we talked about the secret space program. And she's been very open, and she listens and she learns and she watches what's going on, and she has interesting perspectives and questions. And so she is keeping an eye on it now. And I recently just went down to see my family over Christmas, and I'll tell you, Jimmy, I've had some really interesting conversations with my family since I've opened up and gone public with my perspectives on all of this. So it's been a fun ride for me, and I've gotten to have some really wonderful conversations with people in my family who I thought maybe weren't open to this stuff. And they said, "Teresa, we need to talk about the aliens."
Right.
So
and see, now this is my point. Everybody listening right now has a family that maybe never talked about this stuff before. Now they can. But that's also indicative of the rest of the world. Those that would never have talked about this publicly, and you would never suspect that they were into it, needed this little nudge, right, to even bring it up in a conversation, because I've experienced the same thing. I've never sat around at the table with my family talking about UFOs. Now I can't get them to shut up. It's, you know, and have you noticed the very same thing?
Absolutely. It's not crazy anymore. I was the crazy one. I mean, not really. You know, I just decided to talk about this stuff online. And so I just kind of put myself out there extremely publicly. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I took a leap of faith. I thought, okay, well, that's it. I'm going to make this step. I'm going to start talking about this stuff on YouTube, and my family's going to think I've completely lost it, which isn't what happened at all, actually, to me. I had a situation instead where my family came to me asking questions. So, and then now, like you're saying, it's totally true with all of this coming out now in the mainstream. It's not even crazy anymore. Now people are saying, "Oh, okay, now I'm allowed to talk about this because XYZ, you know, on the news," or maybe because they've been following Blink-182 for 30 years and they trust Tom DeLonge, or whatever that looks like. So I think it's wonderful.
Now, you're going to be speaking at the Conscious Life Expo. We're going to take a break right here, but you're going to be out here in 4 short weeks. I can't believe it. Now, when you go to conferences like this, do you think that the mood is going to be different? And is it going to change what you are speaking about?
It's not going to change what I'm speaking about, but I think that everyone's just really excited. So I imagine that the energy level will be extremely high because everybody's got similar stories that you and I have coming into this thing. So it'll be interesting to see how everybody is connecting.
No, what are you going to speak about at Conscious?
I'm going to talk about magic. So I'm going to discuss topics of magic and how the collective has been programmed to perceive magic in a certain way. I'm going to talk about my own personal mystical experiences that led me to writing a book about it, which I'm about to release, actually. And then I'm going to explain the truth of magic and how it can be utilized practically into your life.
Now, what do you mean magic?
Oh, you asked me the name of my book, which is called What is Magic? So magic is the discovery of the unknown. It's that beautiful moment when you bring something out of the unknown into the known. So it's the excitement you get when you discover something awe-inspiring and amazing. And I think everybody can connect to this right now, especially in the disclosure community. You've all gone through your truth-seeking process where you have uncovered something. So think about Santa Claus when you're a child. Santa is magical. He represents something beyond normal, something you wanted to grasp and be a part of because it seemed so important and better than your normal waking life. But the beauty of magic is that magic is actually all around us and it's connecting to the universe. So because the universe is infinite and we're finite manifestations of that infinite wonder, there's always more to learn and experience. every moment has the capacity and the potential for you to realize magic inside of it. It's just waiting locked away until you can tap into that mindset.
Wait a minute. Did you just say Santa wasn't real?
No, Santa is real.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, let's don't be bumming me out. Don't be bumming me out. One of the things that I miss, one of the cool things about being a parent is going through that with your child, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm being very, very, very serious right now. I've never been more serious. I couldn't wait for Christmas. I couldn't wait for that magic. It was just, and leading up to Christmas morning, as a parent, is one of the most wonderful things that you can go through, because you know exactly what your child is thinking. And how does he come down the chimney? How do these presents get wrapped? How does he go around the whole world? How did he know what I wanted? This is great. And they were so happy. It is one of the great things. And I wish it could never have ended. And
you bring up such an important point of the talk I'm going to be giving, because I feel like that's been programmed into our society, where we give the masses Santa Claus and then you rip that from the child. So it's like you're introducing them to magic and then telling them magic doesn't exist. And then they have to rediscover that magic actually does exist. So you're hitting the nail on the head with that point, because everyone goes through that process with whatever that looks like, and then you reconnect to that divinity as an adult, hopefully. And I think that's what a lot of us are going through right now.
Yeah, and including our children. Now they appreciate, now they're 22, and now they fully are engaged on what Santa Claus is and what we went through, as parents. And I know that it has been handed off to them, and my grandchildren, Rita and I's grandchildren, are going to be just fine. But it was such a drag when they found out, when one of their friends came up and said something to them. You know what I mean? It was just, it was like the end of there's no going back to that one. Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, Teresa Yanaros. And now when we come back, we're going to go through 2017 and what we can expect in 2018 for all of us with awakening and consciousness in our world around us. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. More with Teresa right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
You're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell,
You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers, and you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Teresa Yanaros. Now, her YouTube channel and her website are right there at jimmychurchradio.com. You can click on it right there. She's got great material up there. She updates it all the time. I don't know how you find the time, Teresa, to do what you do, but you have got your foot on the gas constantly. And that goes with all of your webinars that you're doing with Mr. Deschamps. And it's amazing the amount of material that you've got going out there. But let me back up a step off of that. 2017, I don't think was at all a fun year, not until the middle of December. We went through a lot of traumatic things. And with you and the presentations that you were doing on the webinars were all about that, you know, trying to get people to understand what was going on out there and how to get grounded and how to understand what you are seeing in the world, right? And that was 2017 for you.
Yeah, people feel disempowered whenever you learn all of this information. It can be very overwhelming. And then people were coming to me asking me, like, how do you get through this? You know, so there's a lot of that. It was really interesting, actually, because I was asked to speak at Eclipse of Disclosure. And during that month, I got 6,000 hits on my website, people signing up for coaching sessions, which was a beautiful thing because I got such an amazing insight into the disclosure community or the truther community, whatever you want to call it, for a couple of months. I was able to meet with these people and really talk to them about the deep recesses of their inner sanctum, whatever they had going on and what they were trying to get through. And I felt so humbled and blessed that I had that opportunity, because coming out on the other end of that, I feel like I had a really good idea of what people were going through. It's intense.
And is it going to be easier for you in 2018?
I'm like going really strongly right now. I feel like everything has been kind of building upon everything, kind of my launch out. I've had Divine Frequency now for a couple of years, but really since it was May that it really took off, because I finally started talking about aliens. And once I did that, it sort of switched for me. I went to Contact in the Desert and I started meeting people, working with a lot of different people in the community. And so 2017 was actually a really good year for me. I wouldn't say, I mean, yeah, it was hard because it's hard work, but it's hard work now. It's going to be hard work, but that's the reality of it. But I'm grateful for my 2017 because I had a lot of opportunities, and going into 2018 and getting ready to publish my first book, and with my website going so well and all the work we're doing with Stillness in the Storm, which is another news media site that I work for, all of this stuff is just moving forward in a wonderful way. And then building off of what we were talking about earlier with disclosure like being insanely represented now in the mainstream. The next step, Jimmy, for me is finding a way to take disclosure to the masses. That's where I'm headed. That's what 2018 is for me. I'm going mainstream with this stuff, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Now, why should the rest of the world, our community's been crying about disclosure for a long time, but why should the rest of the world even care about disclosure?
Well, it's happening right now. And disclosure is uncovering what's hidden. Let's talk about that for a second. So there are subliminal messages being seeded into our brains at every moment of our existence. You really got to take this up a level. So by bringing these messages and symbols into our conscious frame of mind, we demonstrate control over the information that's going into our minds and how we let that shape our reality. So when we make something unconscious conscious, we've created the opportunity now to learn and grow from the experience. If you close your mind and you miss the signs, then you have less opportunities for transformation. The whole point of this existence is to learn and grow. So we must approach what is called disclosure consciousness and remain there in order to evolve into an expanded state of collective consciousness. So when we open our minds, detach from our old belief systems, we move into a space of openness to new information. And this is the key. So we are finite manifestations of the infinite, and therefore there's always more to learn. But it's not just about learning information. We're past the information age. It doesn't matter if you're learning about health, consciousness, aliens, history. It's just about remaining in that childlike state of willingness to expand your belief systems upon receiving new information. So especially with all that's coming out into the mainstream currently, we must as a collective assess new pieces of information and then be open to constructing new paradigms based off of new ideas. And this is the future. So once we release the old programming and we sit in an open space of reception, we can look at the messages and information being passed to us, and we can make decisions based on that material. We can choose what we believe about that material. And then this brings us into the co-creative state, and we can build something new that we're moving into.
Yeah, but we have a problem here. The average Jane or Joe, right, out there, with their job, status quo, getting up in the morning, going to work, coming home at night, and waking up and doing it all over again. What does disclosure mean to them?
Right. They don't care about a lot of this stuff. And so you have to take it to them. And I've been beating my head over and over trying to figure out the answer to this question over the last 6 or 7 months, because this is I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, great. Our community is awesome, but we need to go mainstream with this. How do you do that? By taking it to them. And I think I'm starting to figure it out, at least for how I can help, because everybody's going to have a different answer to this, but I can give you my answer and how I'm finding that I'm connecting with the mainstream. I started decoding symbols in mainstream entertainment that people watch. So this is people that maybe they don't even believe in aliens. Maybe they don't even believe in government conspiracy. That's neither here nor there. People that work their 9 to 5 that aren't touching this community at all. I tell you what, they're watching Netflix, right? So what you have to do is you have to start following the trends in the mainstream. That's what I'm doing. And I'm making content based on that material, and you're seeding it with truth. You're not blasting, oh, I'm a conspiracy theorist and I'm going to talk about this. No, you have to speak their language and seed in something extra that gets them to start thinking. And that's what's happening right now. That's what's coming into the mainstream. Concepts like MK Ultra, that program going into Wormwood, which is a new Netflix show, and then there's Stranger Things and all of that. Yeah,
incredible. Wormwood, which is a documentary actually with live action acting edited into it, but the story itself is nonfiction, and that is a game changer. And a lot of people are watching that would never have thought. It's one thing to bring in a 9/11 conspiracy. Well, Wormwood actually happened. That is historical record, and it's very disturbing. But what about the symbolism that is happening right now in the mainstream, music videos or talk shows? What are they witnessing that they would have never even thought of?
What are I'm sorry. What are the mainstream? I'm sorry. Can you ask the question again?
In music videos, with John and Jane Doe, where they're not suspecting the symbolism, what are they seeing out there?
It's really disturbing. Like, people that don't really know what they're looking at. Like, for instance, Justin Timberlake just came out with a new music video like 4 days ago, and it is way promoting the transhumanist agenda. But people that don't know about that, they don't have any context for that. So they're seeding themselves with these images of this robot engaging in very inappropriate acts with women on a stage in front of people. And they're just seeding this information that's just going into their brains, and they don't really know what to do with it. So that's a scary thing. And that's why it's so important to bring these concepts out into a conscious frame of mind. And that's what I'm doing through YouTube right now. And people that are Googling, or, they're on YouTube and there's a new Justin Timberlake video that just came out, they're typing that into the search bar, and my videos are coming up to the top where I'm like, let's break down.
Okay, hold on. Let's mess with that. What's the name of the new song?
Filthy.
Filthy. Okay. All right. Got it right here.
I'm not sure if you'll find me coming up when you do that, but I know that people are they're accessing my videos. Like, for instance, I do videos on Katy Perry, and that's actually a really good question. I should probably be doing that, see where I'm coming up on it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting a lot of traffic from people that are typing Katy Perry in, and then my videos are coming up. So that
there
they're
you
able
are.
to.
You're right here. You're right here. That's interesting. Also, with this popping up are a couple of Egypt videos too, as well, and Britney Spears symbolism. Wow. Okay. Now, see, this would never pop up in my feed. And there it is. Ellen DeGeneres pops up. Interesting. What are the ties there? So what kind of symbolism are going down in this video?
Well, there's so much. Oh my gosh. With Justin Timberlake, it's really bad. If you watch the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of sexual robot innuendo, and I know that this is disclosing a lot of this sexual robot kind of stuff that's been actually released in real life. It's really gross, but that's a thing. And so it's sort of blurring these lines where it's like, hey, this is okay. And it's a very deep, disturbing reality that we're not connected anymore, and this is being driven through with this agenda. We need to be getting back to our communities and getting even closer connected, and not feeding into this drama of sexualizing robots. So there's some programming going on in these videos for sure. So by talking about it, by not standing idly by and talking about this, bringing it into the conscious frame of mind, we need to assess these ideas that are being socially promulgated to the masses, and we need to decide what's actually beneficial here and what kind of future we're actually trying to co-create.
I'm looking at these comments in the video, and you're obviously right. I'm looking at it here. He's telling us a message. Everybody pay attention. Somebody else's comment here, which I find very interesting. This is Black Mirror. That's pretty telling that the masses are getting the message, not only with a show like Black Mirror, but that they understand what is actually happening in the video, which I haven't seen. And by the way, you're right. 4 days out, 14 million views. And that's a holy crap moment right there.
And all of that just goes into the subconscious. People need to think, and I've been saying this since I was very young, we have to critique the images and messages that we receive in the media. We have to, because whether you like it or not, everything you do in your life, there are messages being seeded into your brain through television, through the computer, through advertising, all of it. And by making this conscious, you can change your experience. And that is what we're tapping into now. People are hungry for this material. They're ready for it. They're activating people. And this is across the board. It doesn't matter what community you're in. I'm seeing this need that people want to assess these images now, because they're going, what's up with this? This doesn't feel right. This doesn't seem right. And because of the internet, we're able to have these conversations, and it's beautiful. And that's what's blossoming right now.
have you, well, I know that you've seen Black Mirror, but have you thought about the way that the people that are watching Black Mirror understand technology today? You know, they understand our cell phones and tablets and the internet culture. But Black Mirror is set in the very near future. And I think that all of us that watch Black Mirror understand that this is actually something that could be very real tomorrow, or maybe even happening today. This artificial intelligence, artificial reality thing is part of our culture today, and we need to be aware of it.
Yes, and to speak to the listeners who might not know what Black Mirror is, it's basically this dystopian creativity. It's really kind of, every episode's different, but it's freaky. And like Jimmy's saying, it's presenting these dystopian societies where people are very disconnected, and it's all very integrated with computers and AI. So yeah, Jimmy, to answer you, it's a lot of people are actually reaching out to me lately asking me to break apart Black Mirror. And I think it's because it's so relevant that people are afraid that that's where we're headed. But the reality is, it's a good thing that this stuff, to me, it's a good thing that this stuff is coming out, because it's making us aware of it. And so that we can decide what we want to co-create. So we need to continue to have these conversations for sure.
100% agreed. 100%. The show, entertaining. Fun, absolutely. Scary, spooky, all of that. Is it a warning? Yes, it allows us to step back, because if this starts to present itself, and it will, the subjects in a show like Black Mirror, that we can consciously make a decision. I don't need to go here, right? I don't need a dating program. I saw Black Mirror, if you know what I mean. Now, also, and bringing up, I'm going to watch the video after the show, Justin Timberlake, but over the weekend, it was announced in a press release about robot strippers in Vegas next year. Did you hear about this?
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah, now see, that was my reaction. That was my reaction. What guy or guys would be at a strip club looking at a robot stripper and contemplating a tip? Right,
it's so sad.
Right. Now, contemplating a tip. If you know what I mean, this is so good. I got to tip this robot stripper. Where do I put my dollar? Now,
our society's so dissociated. I mean, it's bad. That's bad.
It's a crazy thought, isn't it? Well, but it's reality. There's a strip club in Vegas, and what was the name? Oh, Rita, was it Sapphire? I think that's what it was. Rita, hit me back in a text. I think there's a strip club in Vegas called Sapphire that's going to have 2 robot strippers next year, and somebody there thought that this was a good idea.
That is ridiculous. Robot exotic dancers debut at a Vegas club.
Yeah, she just hit me. It is Sapphire. And she says, no, not next year. They did it on January 8th.
And then the article says the real question is, do they take Bitcoin?
Yeah, do they take Bitcoin? That's good. That's funny, Teresa. They were unveiled today in Vegas. There you go. It's for CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, at a special Sapphire robot preview party.
That's disturbing. I'm going to have to write an article about this.
I've got to, somebody up in Twitter right now has got pictures of this, I'm sure. Somebody post some pictures of the robot strippers in Vegas, and we'll get that going in Twitter. I've got to see what they look like. We were, Rita and I were driving when we heard this on talk radio. And you immediately are picturing this. You know, that goes plugged into your mind's eye immediately. But this whole sexual robot AI thing has been pursued for a long time now. I find it disturbing that there are investors out there and people and engineers and software guys that are pursuing this. Are you surprised by it?
Well, I guess I'm not surprised because we live in the world we live in. But for a second, I just want to say I don't want to live in a world where sex is outsourced to machines, because we have enough issues with running away from our interpersonal issues without now throwing in this extra element. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we have issues with relationships, and then we say, oh, cool, that's fine, buy yourself a robot. Like, really? So it brings up all of these questions that people need to start talking about, because these are the slippery slopes that we deal with, and then we turn around and go, wait a second, how the heck did we get here? So we do need to be making sure that we're not just making light of these music videos and different things like this in Vegas going on, because it goes little by little until we turn around and everything's different than it was. So it's crazy. It's crazy time.
I'm looking at pictures of them here, and I've got to tell you, I don't get it. I don't get it. We're going to get these. Yeah, okay. There you go. I okay, I'm retweeting now. There you go, everybody. There's your robot strippers right there. Sapphire, Las Vegas. That's pretty incredible. Now, what about the rest of the media out there outside of the news, like Ellen DeGeneres and talk shows, and how this is going to be handled in 2018?
Oh, man, Jimmy, did you hear what happened with Ellen DeGeneres?
I heard a little bit about it. What happened?
Well, okay, so she said deep state 7 times on her show.
Right.
Without breaking a sweat. It was amazing. So what happened was Eric Trump saw on his Twitter feed who he should follow, and it said Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Ellen DeGeneres, and he saw all those names together. He screenshotted it, and then he tweeted it, and he said, shocking, once again, here are the Twitter suggestions of who I should follow, and then he hashtagged deep state. Well, what was so funny about this was that Ellen sees that she's trending on Twitter, and she goes and she sees this tweet from Donald Trump's son. And so she goes on her show, her television show, and she starts talking about deep state. And she's like, do you guys know what deep state is? And she's just going on and on about this government conspiracy. And she's like, oh, no, I'm not in the deep state. That's ridiculous. I don't have enough time. And she's like obviously making a huge joke out of it. But what the hilarious thing is, Jimmy, is that I checked the Google Trends today, and I just tweeted this earlier today. But the term deep state is now off the charts.
How far? How far off? How many tweets today?
I don't know. I kind of want to look at it again now.
Yeah. I didn't check those stats before. The first time that I heard deep state getting mentioned out of the White House, and shadow government, deep state, I thought to myself, this is a zone I don't think we want to go into. Right? Do we really want that? I want control of faculties. I don't want things to spin out of control where our White House, I'm not going to say any names here. It doesn't matter what the staff is or who is saying it. But I don't want them thinking that they need to mention deep state to the masses. Right? Do we really want that kind of anarchy, that kind of out of control situation? And if it bounces back to DeGeneres, back to the White House, and the millions of people that are following both the White House and Ellen DeGeneres, now we have deep state part of the conversation. Do we really? This is what we've wanted, right? This is what we've wanted. We've wanted that recognition. But now that it's here, I'm not comfortable with it.
Why are you uncomfortable?
I'm just not. I'm really not. Not that what I'm not comfortable with, Teresa, is the status quo now thinking about the deep state, because I think that the threads of our fabric are going to get unwoven, and I'm not sure we can sew it back together quick enough.
I think that there's a natural progression, and there are catalysts, and then there are opportunities for growth. So I see this as an opportunity So she unlocked a phrase and a buzzword for a lot of people that now are Googling deep state. And those people could have been the catalyst that they were ready for to start them on their journey of truth seeking.
Yeah. Yes. And that's what I'm not comfortable with. If I am at the supermarket and I'm in the vegetable section and I'm pushing my cart and I hear 2 or 3 ladies looking at oranges talking about the deep state.
That's a good Wednesday.
Whoa. Do we really want to be in that zone? Wow. I mean, like I said, if it comes unraveled, how do we put it all back together?
I think you're feeling stressed that you're going to have so many people asking you questions now.
I know, right? Right? Oh, you're that dude from Fade to Black, Coast to Coast. I wanted to ask you about the deep state. Dude.
Get ready.
Yeah.
That's about to happen.
I don't know it, because if these dominoes start to fall, Teresa, and I've mentioned this to you before, if they start to fall, it's not going to be slowly. It's going to go. Right? It's going to happen, and it's going to happen rapid fire because everything is connected. And how do we put it all back together again quick enough that we don't just turn into cavemen again and
we
cave
don't put it back together. That's the problem that you've got with that logic, because it's going to be the Phoenix moment, and it's happening, and it's going to crash, but it's going to be built much better from the ashes. And I think it's already happening. People are already opening up. This is, this kind of stuff with Ellen and everything with disclosure happening, especially in December. And now it's all going to happen quickly, yes, but I think what is going to come in is a whole lot of consciousness, a whole lot of people going, okay, wait, we need to figure this out. And then we're going to start having conversations onto what we want to co-create. That's the next step here.
And how do we keep ourselves stable? I mean, what do you say to someone that has never heard of Mandela effect before, and now today that there's the possibility of parallel worlds and ET is here, and we can control our consciousness, and we need crystals in our lives? That's a whole lot of bombs being dropped, don't you think?
Well, you bring up an important part that's perfectly aligned with what we've been talking about with the AI stuff. We need each other. We need community. We need humans to talk to, converse with, bounce ideas off of, go into the deep, dark recesses of your own closet, of your darkness, and figure out what you believe, who you are, and what you're here to do. And that's what you should be doing. And I think that everybody's being activated right now, and we're moving into that space of transformation and renewal.
Well, I can tell you what I don't need are these AI stripper robots.
I second that.
Are you looking at the video that Mark Tarana just posted?
No.
It's hilarious, man. That's funny. That's a waste of money. Somebody spent a lot of money on developing those, and that was just a bad idea. Let's take a break right here. When we come back, everybody, I'm going to do this. I'm going to open up the phone lines. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. And let's do this. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Teresa right after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. And last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Teresa Yanaros. Yanaros. I want to say Yanaros. She's corrected me too many times. Teresa.
How's it going, buddy?
Yanaros.
You got it. There it is.
You know, I can't help myself. You know, it's just one of those traps, and I just don't know what it is. But we're going to get
to make it sound exotic.
Yeah, maybe. Does that sound exotic to you?
Well, it would have like a different pronunciation. I don't know. Sounds more exotic. Maybe Yanaris is kind of American sounding.
I'm looking at these phone lines. Okay, they're jammed up. Listen, if you're on hold, stay right there. I'm going to get to everybody. But one of the questions that came in, and it was actually in Black Mirror too, is cheating with a robot infidelity. If you found out that your boyfriend or husband was cheating with a robot, is that infidelity?
Well, cheating is spiritual, so I would say yes.
It is, isn't it? Yes.
It's a mental space, and when you're moving into a mental space where you're actualizing a relationship in any kind of capacity with another being that's not the person you're in a relationship with, that to me constitutes cheating.
And then you're going to have the men out there thinking, well, you know what? It's okay. It's just a robot. Right? You know exactly where I'm going.
Well, and I also think that maybe the question itself is flawed. Like, is it cheating? Is it not cheating? That doesn't necessarily matter. The underneath, what really matters is the breakdown of the relationship at hand.
Right.
Because, yeah.
I'm trying to think of, it was the TV series that I was just watching. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to go back to that. But there was a somebody that was married to a doll. And it was the same thing. Those questions started to come up. Dude, really? But
was it Lars in real life?
No, it was White Famous.
Mm.
Yeah, on Showtime or HBO. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, I hate to change the subject from this super interesting conversation about sex robots, but my name is it's Nicole Bennett calling in, and I have a YouTube channel called Beyond Disclosure, and my current project is breaking down symbols in the highly mainstream movie series X-Men and relating it to esoteric truths hidden underneath the surface.
Wait. Who's calling in?
Sterling Nicole Bennett. Jimmy.
That's
me.
What are you doing? You know what? This is what's funny. I don't think you've ever called the show before.
I have not.
And so tonight you were so motivated. Was it me or was it Teresa?
Well, you know what? I love you guys both, so I can't really say.
Hi, Sterling. Thank you for calling in.
Oh, man, I can't believe it. It's good to hear your voice. And let me go back again and say, what was your question? I was all excited that Sterling's called in for the first time. What was the question, Sterling?
I was just going to ask because my project I'm working on right now is decoding symbols in the movie series X-Men and relate them to esoteric truths that are hidden underneath the surface. And Teresa's been featuring me on her website, Divine Frequency, for that reason. But I wanted to ask, Teresa, would you please tell the listeners a little bit more about the process and how they can get involved with bringing about our collective vision of bringing disclosure to the masses?
Oh, my gosh. Sterling is my spirit animal. Thank you so much for calling in, Sterling. And I would love to answer your question. So first, I just want to back up for a second and introduce Sterling Nicole Bennett. She's got her YouTube channel called Beyond Disclosure, and she works with me and the guys at Stillness in the Storm, and she's doing an amazing job. She's a millennial that's bringing disclosure to the masses. She's helping me out, man.
No doubt.
I have been featuring her through my website, thedivinefrequency.com, and my intention and my vision, as I've been saying on this show, is to really help the masses bring this to the mainstream. Sterling is doing that on her channel because she's breaking down and decoding X-Men. So she is doing this in a way where people are able to look for X-Men and then stumble across some esoteric truth. Haha, how awesome is that? So as far as your question, Sterling, I would love to feature people that have articles that they want to write, or maybe they have a YouTube channel or whatever that information is that you want to disseminate. If it has to do with something bringing disclosure to the mainstream, that is my bag. So please email me at thedivinefrequency@gmail.com and we can talk about it. I would love to feature you guys through my site.
Sterling has been, the two of them, by the way, have been part of our circle for a long time. I cannot believe you've never called into the show. That's the part that's kind of tripping me out. But Sterling, let me throw that exact point back to you that we've been talking about tonight. Your generation, are you feeling pushback, or are they okay with your subjects?
Well, just to fill in, the other person on my channel, her name is Sabrina, and Sabrina's awesome. But anyways, the pushback I've been getting is really more from the non-millennials, the older crowd. The millennials that I know anyway are very interested in this topic, and they really gravitate toward it. Actually, this past holiday season, I really got to see my family open up more about these topics. Like, you'd be surprised, everyone has a UFO story, and everyone's very interested in this topic right now. It's very enlightening to see.
Well, the two of them, Sabrina and Sterling, are like Spielberg and Lucas, right? They have, and don't laugh. I'm being very serious for a second. You guys, and Teresa, you've seen the same thing that I've seen. You guys are very, very serious. You've got your cameras, you've got your sound gear, you've got your remote microphones and your radio, and you guys are good to go. and your editing and the way that you guys approach this, I think, is just amazing. And I tease them about this all the time, but I'm very, very impressed with this, that you guys take this very, very, very serious. And your work and your contributions to the community are just need to be commended. So thank you for that. But the other part, for me is you guys are representing a generation that is probably 2 times removed from myself. I'm the old guy in the room. But do you feel that you're representing your community and their voice and what needs to be said?
Well, absolutely, and I do take this very seriously, Jimmy. So the reason why we go through such efforts for our equipment and making sure everything's edited properly is because, well, for me, I'm trying to follow the model that so many largely successful YouTubers have for the past 10 years, and they've reached audiences of up to 50 million. So there's a reason why those things work. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bridge the gap between mainstream, in-your-face, like YouTube-style videos and disclosure.
Now, and there's something else too. And again, I'm not making fun. I've referenced this before
Never.
with you, but you and Sabrina are always sitting in the front row. You guys are laser focused on what is going on around you. This isn't fun times. You guys are taking this very, very serious. And I'm just so impressed with that, because when I look down in the front row and wherever we are speaking, you guys are right there, focused, taping, asking the right questions, doing great interviews, and I'm just very proud. And I've said it so many times. I know that we are represented, and things are going to be just fine in the future with the likes of you and Sabrina out there doing your thing. And I want to thank you for that.
You're welcome, Jimmy. Absolutely. And this is very serious to me. Like Teresa was saying earlier, this is what I was born to do. Like, this is my life's mission. This is my life purpose. So don't worry. I'm not going anywhere.
Now,
I'm going to continue doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm doing the interview now. Teresa, you need to kick back. Let me deal with Sterling here for a second. Sterling, the question of disclosure. You were putting together that whole video back in August, which was great, by the way. You guys did an amazing job on that. But you didn't expect December 16, 2017 to happen. But it did. How did that make you feel?
Well, the I Believe campaign was primarily Sabrina's project, and she did put most of the work into that project, which did turn out very, very well, and I was very impressed by it as well. What happened in December honestly didn't surprise me that much. I mean, to be honest with you, like, I've been expecting all of this for a while. It's been very real for me for a long time. So whenever I see things like this happen, I'm like, yeah, okay, next. Like, what happens next? Like, let's keep going. Like, I'm not afraid of what's coming. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to help people process it and see what comes from there.
Are you coming out to Conscious Life Expo?
I would love to, Jimmy, but I don't think I'm going to make this one.
Okay, but you'll be at Contact in the Desert for sure.
You better believe it.
Sterling, behave and be well, and give our best to Sabrina, will you?
I will. I'll do my best, Jimmy. I love you, and I love your show, and I'll definitely see you later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for calling, Sterling.
Yay. All right, Sterling and Sabrina, their approach to things makes me feel comfortable. Teresa.
I just feel really supported by them at Eclipse of Disclosure, because I do a lot of field journalism at these conferences, and I'm constantly taking pictures and posting things to social media with quotes and commentary and all of that, so the people that aren't at the conferences can be a part of it. And Sabrina and Sterling do the same thing. And whenever I was at Eclipse of Disclosure giving my speech, obviously I can't be like posting things while I'm giving a speech. And they were doing that. They were taking pictures of me. They were taking quotes that I was saying. They were posting it to social media. I was so humbled by it. I felt so supported. And they're in my generation. And all of us, younger folk, I think, sort of all came together around that time where we're like, I see you over there. I see the hard work you're putting in. And then we were able to collaborate and start working together in a greater capacity.
Yeah, because when you look around at these, at the audiences at the different conferences, you can see the different generations there. You can see what's going on. And you look around and you see Sabrina and Sterling running around with their tripods and their video cameras and their headphones and their microphones and doing their thing, setting up and getting it done. And you just have to stop and think to yourself, that's the next generation right there.
It's insane, Jimmy, because I'm 30 years old and I'm pretty darn techie. I built my entire website. Well, okay, it's WordPress. Okay, I'm not like a genius or anything, but I built my own website. I run all of my stuff on my own. But I put together with the guys at Stillness in the Storm, we had a False Flags webinar, and Sterling came along and she put together a trailer for the False Flags webinar. This thing looked professional. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing video editing my whole life. And, you know, Sterling's 7 years younger than me, 6-7 years younger than me. And the work she's putting in is just amazing. So it's like the younger they get, the better, the better the technology is utilized. It's amazing.
Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think that I can't even believe I'm saying millennial, because that is just like yesterday to me, but that is that generation. Why do you think it is that they understand the concept of everything? ET, contact, disclosure, consciousness, awakenness, awareness, any of those things that are part of our community, they just get it out of the gate. Why do you think that is?
That's a huge question that we could probably talk about for like 3 hours. But to give a short version, I believe that it's a spiritual thing. I think that our souls are becoming more actualized and deeper and evolved. And so the younger generations that are coming in are getting it on a DNA level, and we're being activated. And that's just expanding more and more. And then on a technological level, we're raised in that society where everything is just so fast. So you're wired, your brains are wired differently because you're already just functioning at the height and the pistons are firing and you just get it. They're pelted with information at a very fast rate. I also think that at a collective consciousness level with media, what's being seeded is happening more and more expansively. So these concepts have already been subconsciously put into their minds. And so whenever they see something, it activates, and then they're able to go, okay, yeah, that's true. That makes sense. And then also on an informational level, with the internet and everything, you're able to look at so much that you couldn't find before. Also, the people around the world are coming together and talking about concepts like through forums that there's no way that they would find another person in the world if it weren't for the internet that have that same story. When I started publishing things about the Rendlesham Forest Incident, people started reaching out to me that had the same story. That was insanely amazing for me to experience, that I would have not had that opportunity had we not had the internet.
The call-in number is 323-825-5045. That's the phone bank we're using right now. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello, this is Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Hi, Gabriel.
Hi, Gabriel. How are you, man?
I'm very good.
What's going on, man? I think he wants. What do you want to talk about, Gabriel?
Well, I guess I'm open to the conversation, so I can roll with where we are. I have things to discuss with that as well.
Well, let's do it.
I think I tend to agree with Teresa the way that the younger kids today. I mean, I've experienced it with 19 to at least 26-year-olds, and I can definitely see the trend of the open minds and the ones who they're having conversations and they're not being provoked by myself, where you could say that I'm kind of leading them into a more advanced thought processes. It's not. It's where I'm catching them in conversations as I walk up, and they're talking about things such as astral travel and the possibility of other dimensions, and can we meet aliens in those dimensions, not just in this plane. And I mean, these are young kids who sure, they've witnessed a lot and they've seen a lot, and they've stumbled upon things like Joe Rogan Experience by YouTube, but I think a lot of them are having these thoughts already before they stumbled upon them on the internet. It's more of they have these thoughts, and then they have the ability now to go exhaustively search for them on the internet and find the correlative data and the people who have the stories that are exactly the same as theirs.
It's funny it's funny to hear Gabriel say the younger generation when he isn't but 21 himself. But this is the thing, Gabriel. But you're exactly.
I'm 35 at least,
I know, man. But you know what? It's a compliment. You still get carded, and that's the main point. But Gabriel, that we understand that side of it. But the question is, why is the generation born? Is it DNA? Are they born open and awakened? Right? I don't think they've been nudged in this direction, or that that they're natural. There's something else going on. I'm just wondering if we have an entire generation that is just born awakened and aware.
Well, I mean, I can't help but, I mean, I'm not one to talk about myself all the time. I don't really, try to go that far away. But in a way, that's kind of how I view myself because of the way my parents were when I was young. I mean, my parents were into, my parents own a lot of my Illuminati and deep state information comes from my parents when I was young and didn't even know what they were talking about in parties that I was never even able to understand the depth of the conversations they were having.
Right.
And I mean, they were involved in underground BBSs, and my mom worked for the DOD under Cheney, and I mean, there were a lot of things that they knew to the point where my stepdad today, who was one of those people who was the proponent of those, Discordian society people that were trying to break apart the deep state, they don't believe it today because they thought they were just tripping and made it up. But they didn't realize that they had stumbled upon these pieces that were interlaced through very intricate and well-hidden areas within the lives of us, and we found them by chance. And I think it helped me later on because once it came to me looking at the puzzle pieces, it snapped together so fast for me that it was almost like a panic attack in a way type thing. Because you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I can't believe I'm seeing this. This all makes sense because this happened here, and then this created this war, and then this was a war that was only a used distraction to stop us from seeing that this happened, and this was taken away from the whole area of people, and we don't see that and understand it until now. And then we're like, whoa, so all this was interconnected? And I mean, it blows you away, but yet you can see it and understand it just as well as the people who've spent 20 years researching this to find these answers. But it comes together for me just seeing a bunch of pieces together from random searches when I find it interesting, and I think that's where the people who look real hard for that kind of get upset because they're like, I spent all this time trying to figure this out and you put it together so quickly, and there's a slight resentment. But the point is that it is. I feel like it's ingrained in our DNA or in our, maybe our spirit or soul. I don't know. I mean, I can't say. But I feel like we're already advanced that step ahead to propel ourselves to the next generation. And I think that's almost like where our genetic jump comes from, is the information within my DNA is actually given to my children, to where my daughter is going to understand ideas at a younger age than I ever was able to comprehend them, so that she can start at an even younger age to advance this species even further in the leap, and to the point where eventually we can't calculate how the multiplication happens, and that's why we can't understand it from the past and how we leaped so far ahead, because the genetic knowledge is where our DNA holds it. All that area we don't understand, our DNA, maybe that's where we hide all of our knowledge to give to our next generations so that they can leap forward, just in case we're not there.
Are you shocked? I'm going to ask this question for Teresa because this is what she's thinking. Are you shocked or surprised that the millennial generation directly underneath you knows more about these subjects than you do?
Not at all, because like what Gabriel's saying, I totally agree with you, man, because like we were raised by parents who went through a lot, and they, in my family growing up, like I said before, my parents were there at Rendlesham, and they watched the X-Files, they watched Quantum Leap. That's what we grew up on. So us older ones, Gabriel, I think you said you were 35 or 36. I'm 30. Mm-hmm. So we're the older millennials, and we get it. And then you have these younger ones, and I expect them to be further along. That's the way I look at it, because they are the younger generation. Yeah, by dingies, they should be getting this stuff faster than me for sure. Yep. And I'm going to lean on them, and I'm going to listen to them. And there's so much that you can learn from listening to the younger ones. And I mean, heck, even listen to the children, especially listen to the children. I used to be a kindergarten teacher. You got to listen to those 5-year-olds, man. Right. They're on another level.
Well, how about you? How about you, Gabriel? You're 35. You're pretty smart. You're pretty engaged. You're in touch. But are you surprised when, a 15-year-old, 16, 17-year-old comes up and runs circles of knowledge around you?
I mean, sometimes I do get a little taken aback, but I love that at the same time, while they're so eager to throw these things at me, like one of my friends, Tucson per se, he's always ready to come to work when he figures something out, and he's like, Gabe, I want to tell you about this. And I always let him go, because I don't want to say anything, because he is so excited to tell me what he knows on the subject and to find out if it rolls with what I know. And when he sees my face open up in that expression of, wow, you got it, he rises and he feels so good, and it sends him on that track even further. And he wants to know more now. And I think he's like, what's the next thing? What do I look for now?
Right.
And I think it's amazing. And yeah, I am. Sometimes it's like I ask him, I'm like, wait a minute, you're 19, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, phew,
right.
Man. Honestly, dude, when I was 19, I was doing the dumbest stuff any 19-year-old at my age was doing. I mean, I wasn't doing anything awoke.
Right.
I was barely, I was just a little bit awoke because of the fact that I had parents who were, kept on me to be smart and be wise and be open and think about the world. And, that's the only reason I was ahead of most of the kids at my age, but.
Yeah, Gabriel, go out tonight and get carded for me, okay, youngster? I'll talk to you, man. Thank you for the phone call, Gabriel.
Thank you. Love and light, Jimmy. Have a good night.
Right back at you, man. That is one smart kid right there, 35 years old. But
he's awesome.
It trips me out, Teresa. Well, I'll be sitting at a conference and I'll have somebody come up that is, young, and go, Jimmy, you got it all wrong. See, the black hole and the wormhole and, the time dilation and the folding of the universe. And then when you go through it, it's the speed of light, but it's not because it's gravity. And I'm like, dude, how old are you? How old are you? And they get it. They get the conversation. And it's not about, Teresa, this is what I find fascinating. And you do the same thing with me. I've experienced this. It's not the facts. It's not like everything that I say or a guest says is fact and it's truth and we have to stop right there. They take that knowledge and they go and they figure things out on their own. And then they come back and say you were wrong because I went and did the research. Right? You understand what I'm saying? And it's amazing to me.
It's beautiful. I love it. It's a great process, and I feel like we're all expanding out together. And like I said before, it's all about community. And when you can see it that way, we all get further faster because it's all part of the collective.
You know what's funny? We got to take a break right here, but this is what we should do. We should have, it's over 21 at a bar, right? We should have a conference only under 30. Carded at the door. This is Fade to Black. We'll be right back. Phone lines are open. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat. Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Teresa Yanaros. Divine Frequency. You can follow her on Twitter at Divine Frequency. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. And everybody is jamming up the wrong phone lines. You're calling in on the wrong phone lines. The 323-275, we are not using that. You need to call in on 323-825-5045. Teresa, I don't know if you were watching Twitter, but the whole conference, the under 30, the under 30, that we would have to check for fake ID. You know, looking at somebody, dude, you're not 30. Yeah, I am.
No, I wouldn't be able to go in. I'm over 30.
Yeah, right.
We'd be hanging out outside. We'd be tailgating in the parking lot.
You know, that would be the conference to go to, right? So you got your fake ID that says you're 29, and you're putting on makeup. Can I pass for this? Right? They'd have to wear like a Justin Timberlake T-shirt.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this Twitter feed is hilarious. People not listening to the show, just looking at the Twitter feed, are probably like, "What is going on in here?"
The under 30 conference, but think about that, because I talk about it so much, and the one thing that I've tried to be, it's the wrong word to use, but conscious of, is making sure that our community is safe. Years ago, it was probably 10 years ago, Teresa, I had read somebody's review of a recent UFO conference that they went to. And they said that there was nobody at the conference that was under 60. Right? And that there was a generation gap here, that nobody cares about conferences anymore. That they're underattended. And I read this and I didn't quite understand it, but it did, because I didn't think that was the case. But my point moving forward was to make sure that person who wrote that review was wrong, right? That they were wrong. So as I go around to these conferences and just look, I noticed that they were wrong, that there is, all generations are represented. And I would definitely say that millennial generation and, around that age group, that 18 to 30-year-old age group, is just as strong as any age group at any conference. I really feel that, don't you?
I would say at Contact in the Desert, definitely. Some of the other conferences, I would not agree with you, but they were also smaller conferences. So what I think is probably happening is, like, the larger conferences are generating that draw. So, but yes, I would say at Contact in the Desert, there were all ages of people there. But I think it also speaks to a larger thing where, like, even in churches, there's a huge generation gap. So it's almost as though, just in general, the millennials aren't going to these spiritual things as much.
Right. Well, I remember last year at the Conscious Life Expo, somebody came up to me, I'm going to say 21, 22 years old, right in there. It was a couple. And they came up and they said, "Jimmy, this is great. This isn't all old people," because I was talking about it on the show. And they were like, "Look around." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Just look around." I feel confident in that. This is not what people think it is, these conferences and our community. So let's go to the phones. Hey, Scott, how are you?
How are you, Jimmy?
I'm doing good, Scott. Say hi to Teresa.
Teresa, I am intimidated, so I'm very nervous.
Hi, Scott. How are you doing? Thanks for calling.
Well, thank you very much. Listen, I'm nursing a hangover from Jimmy's New Year's Eve party, so I'll make this very, very close to my point. Concepts, reality. The question is, where are we going in the afterlife? Is that not the important question? The question of a lifetime. Do we have an answer? Brilliant minds could not solve this puzzle. Are we closer to finding that question, or is it just a closer to danger when we try to get closer to that answer?
Great question.
I love that question. I actually talk all about your question in the book I'm about to release called What is Magic? And that's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. This was actually a huge part of my awakening experience, was when I read this book called Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. And he sought to answer that question, what happens after you die? And he is a psychologist who just recently passed away last year, but he would regress patients into past lives, and then they were able to access the space in between. And so he spent 10 years regressing people into, after a past life death, into what happened before they reincarnated again. I know this can sound potentially way out there, but he spent 10 years of his life doing this, and he's not the only one who does this. This is a thing. There are past life regressionists who are psychologists that do this work. But he put this into a book called Journey of Souls, and it's case studies. And you can learn about the overlap in all of these case studies, where they describe what happens after you die and the process process of integrating back into classroom kind of style where you're learning about the lessons that you went through in that lifetime, and then you choose the next life or where you're going to go into the world. And the idea or the point, the purpose of it all is to expand and grow, reach the next level of experience. And then after you are at a certain maturity level of soul, you actually stop, according to Dr. Michael Newton, you stop incarnating on Earth and you actually move to the next level where you aren't coming to Earth, but you're doing something even more, I guess, impressive or powerful. But the whole purpose is to go back to source, is to your soul was ejected and created out of the source creator, and you expand and grow, and then you come back around to source eventually.
Scott's call dropped, but man, I've got calls backed up here. If he manages to get back in, I'll bring him back on. And there you go. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey there. It's Logan from Iowa.
This is who?
Hey, Logan.
Oh, hi.
Logan from Iowa. Yeah, I've been Low Inception, my DJ name. I've been locked into your show for a minute.
Thank you, Logan. What do you have for Teresa?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to talk what you guys are talking about, like the kids nowadays. Like, they're so smart now. Like back in the day, you know, when we were kids, you know, we didn't have Google and all the technologies we have today, you know. Like, I mean, you know, back in class, you know, if I could just sit back and ask, sorry, hey, or what's the, you know, answer to this math problem, you know, that would have been so cool back in the day. But now, like, these kids catch on so fast. And I'm wondering, like, is it because of the millennium change? Like, I mean, what is it? Like, why are they so much, you know, so more, like, you know, different? Like, things have changed, you know?
Yeah, I totally, and Logan, thank you for the phone call. That's exactly the point. Is it because, I mean, there's so many possibilities here, but is it because everybody's born awake now? Could it be, I know I'm going a little bit far out, but could it just be in the DNA? That this next generation, this time, it's programmed in the DNA that they are open. They're born with their eyes wide open and their mind.
Yeah, and it's all connected too, because the Earth is changing as well, and some people believe that we're moving into a higher energetic space in the galaxy. So everything is expanding, and we're actually evolving, just like our Earth. So it could be all of that connected in with the DNA as well. And like you were saying, Logan, about it being, you know, 2018, we've moved into a new millennium. Time has passed by. Now we're shifting forward and we're evolving and changing.
Yeah, well, you know, like the pineal gland, right? Mm-hmm. Our generation, you have to read about it. You have to study about it. What is it? I feel like with the kids today, be like, well, pineal gland, duh.
Exactly.
What did you think was going on, Pops? You know,
Grandpa.
Yeah, exactly. They get it. They really, really do. I think the part of all of the forms of media that are out there, whether it's television or the internet or, you know, cell phones and streaming video and cartoons and what have you, that the possibility of the existence of alien life has been presented to them and ingrained so much that, and that's my, how do I want to say this? That's my, what's the word that I'm looking for? That's my doofus way of, that's my doofus answer, that they're getting it all from cartoons and Transformer movies, that they are so ingrained with the question of ET coming to this planet, or that they have been here, that's where they're getting it from. And it could be much deeper and easier than something like that. I'm just trying to grasp at straws here, but I think it's there's something else going on because they understand everything.
Or they're all getting visited and then their memories are getting wiped, and that's why they just have this deep understanding. You
know, that whole starseed question, right? Star children. Mm-hmm. When you hear about this over and over, okay, it's a fascinating concept. Let's consider that. But then we start to look around, and I'm wondering to myself, maybe that isn't exactly what is going on. You're right, Teresa. That's a really good point. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Deb from Sacramento.
Hi, Deb. How are you? Say hi to Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Deb. Thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. You just mentioned, that was going to be my question. Is there a difference between, well, first of all, I think my understanding of what a star seed is a soul that reincarnates purposely to be part of this evolution in this lifetime of, our consciousness. That's what I think. That's what I think a star seed is. So my question is that right? And what's the difference between a star seed and a light worker?
Great questions. Thank you, Deb.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, there are lots of different answers to this question, but I'll give my perspective on it. And it could be potentially a different perspective than some, so don't mean to be triggering. I believe that all of us are here from an important place. So starseed, or whatever you want to call it, indigo child, I mean, there's a whole list. But the reality is every single soul on this planet has a purpose. And I think some people use this term starseed or whatever it may be to feel more important than another soul. And I believe this is a psyop, and I think it's very destructive to our community. And I think that we all need to be appreciating the divinity within every single other soul, because we do choose this life and we choose to come here for a specific purpose. And each soul is a unique blueprint with a unique set of experiences and attributes and a completely different vision of what they're going to create and how they can actually do it. In a general sense, a light worker, I believe, is someone who can heal, is someone who uses energy to heal. I could be wrong. That's just the way I see it. But that's how I would say it would be different from starseed, because I think what people define starseed as is like what you were saying, like they've incarnated here to help with the shift in consciousness.
Did you see the TV show People of Earth?
Who are you asking? Yes, I have.
Teresa. Yeah, you saw it, right? Do you remember when they went to the UFO conference?
Oh, do I? I think I only saw the first episode.
Oh, you need to go do both seasons. Just that's your assignment for tonight. Okay. But they're at a UFO conference and they're walking through the UFO conference and they're walking up to different tables. I'm a starseed. This is the starseed table.
Oh, right? God.
I'm an indigo child. I'm a light worker. Right? But it was just funny how the classifications that Deb was just bringing up here in the UFO community, it's taken very, very serious. And to see them go through that conference, and I turned to Rita and I said, whoever's writing this show has actually been to a UFO conference. They know exactly what they are writing about. For us, it's funny, right? It's comedy. But it's for the people that are watching the show, I thought it was just great. They were laughing at it, but that's exactly what's going on. If they went to a UFO conference after seeing People of Earth, they would know. They would just walk straight through.
Totally. Well, and it's really important, though, because people coming into this community, especially the younger ones who are trying to seed through all the information and they don't exactly know what it is they're looking at, it's so important to give that information to them where it's like, you are here for a reason. Don't get psyoped into thinking that other people are here and more important than you.
Yeah, and those that are watching the show, right, they're laughing. Somebody stopped laughing and went, wow, I'm an indigo child. Wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
What's up? How's it going?
This is Ken
What's
from
your
Irvine.
name?
Hi.
It's going great, young lady. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Go ahead, Ken.
Good. Thanks, Jimmy. I wanted to give you guys a nuts and bolts on why the kids are ahead. I'm the father of two millennials, a 23 and a 27-year-old. And we brought them up in Cupertino, so that might have had something to do with it. But my son, the 27-year-old, his first grade, he was in a Montessori with first and second, and they were having keyboard skills in the first grade. The other thing is it was geared to math and science. Pardon me. And it had a real technical bent. So, when I was in the first grade, we were dealing with crayons. So
right,
I think that might be why they're ahead. Yep.
That could be part.
Totally.
Now, how are your kids with the UFO or alien ET question?
Good question. They're kind of, at this point, they're, okay, Dad, that's your favorite. How do you do that? So, I don't know that they're anything more than humoring the old man at this point. But
well, if you
they
were
listen to me,
yeah, if they no, but exactly. But Ken, if you asked them if we are alone in the universe, what is their answer?
Well, good question. They say yes, we are not alone. Absolutely, we are not alone. It'd be arrogant to believe we are alone, and that's actually their bent, and they don't even consider it. It'd be arrogance to believe we're alone. And the biggest hook, pardon me for interrupting, was Tom DeLonge. As soon as my daughter heard Tom DeLonge, then she jumped in with both feet and hit the net. She wanted to know everything she could find out about disclosure because Tom DeLonge was in on it.
Now, see, and do you think that makes a difference? That's interesting that they trust Tom, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it was a hook, and it got her interested. I'd be talking about it, and like I said, they'd pat me on the head and say, "Yeah, good, Dad." But as soon as my daughter heard Tom DeLonge, she jumped in both feet. Okay, what can I find out about this?
How are you with 2018 after 2017, Ken? Are you ready for 2018?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's see what comes forward. And it's why have they given us any information at all? And there are all of the opinions. Is it the new enemy? Is it another way to generate tons and tons of money? Jimmy, I don't know, but I guess we're going to find out.
Thank you so much for the phone call.
Okay, thanks, guys.
There you go. Thank you. Ken from Irvine. He brings up a really good point. I'm going to ask you directly, Teresa. He's talking about technology, that we were dealing with crayons in the first grade, and they're dealing with keyboards, smartphones, tablets, and computers.
It's true. I mean, I remember when I was in 6th grade, I built a Harry Potter website. And I actually had a school, and I would have people, people could go through the sorting hat and choose a different common room, and there was a password protect, and I had different homework assignments, and then I was 11, and I was running a Harry Potter school online. It was it's so different what we were dealing with, and I'm 30 now, so look at the younger ones from me, what they're doing. It's amazing.
It is. And there's something else that's missing, though. Did you learn, because you're 30, did you learn how to write in school, cursive?
Yes, we learned cursive in, what was it, 3rd grade?
And
second or 3rd grade?
They don't teach it anymore.
I know, that's so weird.
I don't know how to deal with that. They don't.
My brother's
need
23,
it.
and I don't think he knows cursive.
No, they don't. They don't need it.
Right.
Or they think they don't need it.
They just download the cursive font into their Photoshop.
Isn't that is that a bit too much? Or now let's go that generation right now, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, including my daughters, were not taught cursive in high school. Now, in another 10 years, another 20, 20 years from now, I'm going to be 74. Pretty soon, I am going to be stardust, and my generation. Cursive will be like Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. That's going to happen one day.
Yes, it's happening now. And so when we talk about the generation after Cleopatra, right? Let's go right to the year 0. And I would always talk about on the show, isn't it crazy that everybody just forgot about how to speak ancient Egyptian, how they forgot to read hieroglyphics, that instantly nobody knew what was going on, and we needed the Rosetta Stone to go back and figure all of that stuff out. But we just, you know what? We're doing it right now today. Today. You know,
that's pretty amazing.
Yes. 20 years from now, somebody's going to look at the Declaration of Independence and go, What does it say? Is there a program for that? Is there an app for that? How do we decipher that? What does it say? What a crazy thought. And
so true.
Yeah, we're right there, right now. Do you think that we suffer from that amnesia? We're talking about cursive writing, but our society, people, we suffer from amnesia, and it's quick, isn't it?
Well, like I said before, I believe there's a natural progression to things. So we move forward and things become magical in the past and they're magical in the future. So what's the magical? It's something that's unknown. So something that was once known becomes unknown. And then that takes on this air of majesty, of magic. And then you have to uncover it and you have to figure out what it is. It's the discovery process, the journey, the conquistador archetype coming out. So it's because of that you're talking about. It's not something lost. It's something to be gained instead. So that's sort of my philosophic take on it.
I often thought, and I used to tell my daughters this when they were very young, and they laugh about it now, but I often thought I would teach them to get off of the couch and change the TV channel. Right? As a discipline. That's what we went through. When we were kids, we actually didn't have remote controls, right? That I would have a corded telephone in the house so they wouldn't have a wireless phone, that they would be taught to respect the telephone. All gone. You can't buy a corded phone, number one. Number two, even if I could get them off of the couch to walk up to the TV to change the channel, they couldn't because there's no way to do it now.
The corded phone is like an exotic thing now. I was at a bar one time. This was like probably 6 or 7 years ago. And this girl that was like a USB that she could plug into her phone, and she was answering it from her cell phone.
Yes. Frightening, isn't it? It
was amazing.
Just completely frightening. The humor's not even there because you can't go back and do. They have no concept. We had to get up and change the channel. Why? Didn't you have a remote? Did you lose the remote, Daddy? They don't even get it. They don't even understand it.
I think what was more frightening, though, was that when she answered this phone in the middle of the bar, she had a corded phone coming out of her purse, and nobody even was paying her any type of attention at all. And I'm like, wow, everybody is so asleep that this is really something funny happening, and no one cared. It was really fun.
And the amnesia. And and check this out. I'm tempted to keep you, Pat. Are you okay? Do you want to do a little more overtime?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, well, we'll swing this past, and we'll keep the phone lines open. Payphones. Now, since we're on the subject, when I see payphones on a TV show or a movie where they're trying to show the retro part of the movie, right? This is old, and they're showing a payphone. Do you think those generations today even understand what they're looking at? You know, the concept, change. A quarter in your pocket went into the phone and you dialed a phone number. Think about
completely alien.
Completely amnesia. They don't have any idea. I haven't seen a payphone in a public place in a long time. I don't even know if they exist anymore.
And it's amazing how quickly everyone forgets. Like, I'm still really upset about how CD drives are not in computers anymore.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I insist on having a CD drive, a DV drive on my computers when I go and shop. And it's hard to find now, but I've got.
Okay, so I'm not the only one.
No,
so you do it too.
I have way too much data. I have way too much data on those drives, on CDs, not to be able to access them.
Yep. I used to be the one who would burn the CDs and then draw on them with different colored permanent markers and then print them up on text in the little containers with the different colors and hand them out. And people loved that. I still have friends that still have my burnt CDs.
Yeah, I have folders full, 3-ring binders full of data that are there, and which includes photographs, but it's music and data and documents that I need to have access to. I don't want that to go by. I do have a couple of portable CD USB drives just in case in the future. But that's really the truth, Teresa. A CD with music, we'll talk about this after the break, but the CD with music on it will not be able to be played back in the future. all of those CDs that were sold in stores, the millions and millions of CDs, 20 years from now, you will not be able to have a drive to play the music back on. It's like a whole generation lost.
It's true, but what's going to happen when we get our portal guns in 2018? Because then we're going to have to get rid of the cars.
Yeah, portal guns are good. I'm with you on that one right there. Let's take a break. Our guest tonight, Teresa Yanaros, and I am queuing up the music, and there it comes. I'm going to keep the phone lines open, 323-825-5045. More with Teresa right after this short break. You can follow me on Twitter, Jimmy Church, at JChurchRadio. You can follow Teresa at Divine Frequency. The links are up in Twitter. We'll be right back.
You are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Teresa Yanaros. I did it again. Yanaros. I did it again. You can follow Teresa at Divine Frequency. Hold on, let me do this. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Teresa, I wanted to ask you about collective consciousness, and I've got a couple of emails that have come in and some stuff on Twitter too as well. One thing that I've noticed when we book a guest here on Fade to Black, nobody knows who is booked except for myself, Rita, and the guest, right? Or their publicist or what have you. But that's it. But I will suddenly see references and synchronicities that just pop up all over the place about the guest, about subjects, but nobody knows but us. And is it because of the emails that are going back and forth, a couple of cell phone conversations, and then it goes out into the universe, and then suddenly everything is connected?
Everything is always connected. And sometimes you can, when you're focusing, you can connect to that connectivity. So when you're seeing synchronicities, it's because you're aligning with the universal flow, the natural universal flow. And so I think that synchronicity is so important because it's giving people a glimpse of that connectedness.
It's amazing that I see this happen so much. And then during the show, the same things happen because I'll get emails and references from people after a show saying, you know, this happened to me, you know, during the show. This happened to me after the show. I was on the way home, you know. And these things started popping up, and I see this consciousness elevated during the show, too, as well. Mm-hmm. And is it because the audience is all focused, too?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That concept is so real. I've felt that, and there are so many different ways that you can describe this, but I was in an orchestra for 3 years. I played the French horn in the Fort Worth Civic Orchestra. And when you're playing an instrument in an orchestra with 100 people and you're playing the same piece and you're flowing together in that space where you're creating a symphony, you're flowing with other minds and it's all connected. So yes, I totally feel you on that. I mean, you have your people, you got your fader knots, whoop, whoop, fader knots for the win. And we're all together in a group. And when you focus your attention in a group on something, that's powerful. And that does have an effect.
And you do this, too, in your webinars where you get everybody to focus, too, as well.
Yep. And the concept of the collective consciousness can sound kind of scary or big to someone that maybe doesn't really connect to that, or they're new to that concept. But I like to ground it in a very tangible way for people, where it's like you already know that this exists, and then you start asking them questions. Have you ever picked up the phone to call your mom and she calls you? Or in the middle of the night you wake up and you think there's something wrong with your sister, so you call and she's having a crisis, or whatever those things are. Everybody has those experiences where they experience that connectivity. And so that right there, that is experiencing that collective, that consciousness that comes in together. And then whenever you become conscious of that, and then you can harness it and you can utilize it. So when two people come together, first of all, one person having an intention is strong. But then when two people come together, and then three people, and then more and more and more people come together with one intention, and then they focus their attention on something, then you can start to see the field being manipulated and things being changed.
So you think about an old friend you haven't talked to in 10 years, 5 years, right? And the phone rings, and there they are. Okay, so you can laugh about it. I was just thinking about you, man. I can't believe you called. Yeah, I was thinking about you too. This is great. This is funny. And you laugh. But how do you take advantage of that synchronicity? What do you do with it?
Well, you can start to look at patterns, and then, like for me, I keep a journal of synchronicities and things like that, and you can start to tap into energies. So if you start to find that you have some kind of sense for something that's going to happen in the future, it's going to have a certain kind of feeling associated to that. And then you can go, okay, well, that actually something really happened with that. So now I know what that energy feels like. And then moving forward, you can actually use that to your benefit. So there are so many different types of senses that you have. And when you tap into yourself and you learn what these different things mean, then you are just becoming a master of your own experience, and you can actually become superhuman. Real life X-Men. What up?
Yeah, exactly. When I was a kid, I'm going to go back. Let's go back to 1975. I'm probably 12, and I read The Shining by Stephen King. Now, before anybody starts to trip out that I was too young to read that or whatever, that's not the point. There was something in the book that stuck with me for the rest of my life, and it was this. Stephen King, the character Scatman Crothers, right, the chef at the Overlook Hotel, tells Danny, the kid, he says, man, you've got this shining, which, you know, you have the ability to use your mind, right? You have the shining. And every time, right before the shining is about to happen, I smell oranges. So
really,
yeah. And so when I met you, there was something like this in the book. When I met you, I smelled oranges. Right now, that was interesting to me. Why? Now I needed to look at my own life. Right, where if something extraordinary was about to happen, what was the preemptive strike? Right, what was what was my orange? Right now,
exactly. You just hit the nail on the head. That's a perfect example.
Right, and now what are my oranges? Well, I can't tell you that, but I want the audience to stop and think about what I just said. What are your oranges? What do you smell? What do you think about? What do you see? What's that preemptive thing when something's about to go down, right?
Yes, and I teach this in my coaching sessions, and I call it metacognition, thinking about thinking, when you can tap into your own experience and start functioning on a higher level where you step up and you are looking at things from a higher perspective. You can start to change and manipulate your own life in positive ways and take control and become powerful of your own experience instead of just kind of floating through, being battered by the ocean of consciousness. Instead, you're cutting through it on a surfboard. You know, that's the idea here, is we want to become masters of our own experiences. And you can do that by bringing things into your conscious frame of mind.
And what do you look for? What is your orange?
I have a few different senses that, like, I get like a clear feeling, like I can sense energy in rooms and things like that, which I think a lot of people have that feeling. And then I am also very clairvoyant. Like, I see images, I get visions whenever I meditate, and even sometimes when I'm not meditating. And I think a lot of people have these different experiences. And I think that usually you're going to have a couple of senses that are higher than others for you. It sounds like Claire, what is it? What's Claire smelling? Is it sentience? No, because that's sensing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's called Claire smelling. I'm kidding. I don't know. Yeah,
now I'm going to call it that because you just coined that.
Claire nasal. I don't know what.
Perfect.
Yeah, somebody's going to show us in Twitter here in just a second.
Exactly. But man, this Twitter feed's hilarious.
So when that happens for you, I'm very curious. You know, you're walking into a room and it starts to kick off. What do? Do you squint your eyes? Do you look around? Do you know what you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm always hyper aware of my surroundings. I'm always trying, and I think that's also being raised in a military family. But I think a good example that I can give you is when I do tarot readings, because I'm feeling, I sense energy. I'm sensing energy from another person. I'm connecting to their energy, their aura, and then pulling images out of the collective through the interface that I'm having with their soul. So I've pulled images out of people's heads before and spoken them to them. I've had that experience so many times that it becomes not a coincidence. It's synchronistic and it's meaningful. So you learn to lean into that and trust it. And I follow at first it's hard because you think you're making things up, but then after you go through it so many times for years and years, you start to trust it and you lean in. And that's when the real magic happens, because there's no fear. It's just flow.
Somebody just said Claire Fume.
Perfect.
Nasal awareness. But somebody else said Claire Sominance.
Oh, that sounds legit. I like that one.
That sounds legit. You got to love the Fader knots. Okay, this comes in from Mark, and this was in response to something you said earlier. So when a person gets a tarot card reading, when somebody gets a tarot card reading or something similar, that a dead parent has taken on a guardian angel type role, does this mean their parent hasn't reincarnated yet?
You can, I mean, you can have an experience with something from the beyond, like a soul or a spirit that is not incarnate on the planet. But I don't necessarily think that that's necessarily the case, because I also believe that we as souls can travel even when we're incarnate. So if they're having some kind of experience with a spirit or an energy, it doesn't necessarily mean that, but it could, if that makes sense.
And if you are making contact, I've got a couple of more dead people questions here. If you are making if you are making contact with a friend or family or loved one that has gone to the other side, does that mean they haven't reincarnated yet? Are they lingering?
Yeah, so I've actually experienced this, and I wrote about it in my book because it was a really intense experience for me. When I was 18, my cousin died, and he was also 18. We were extremely close. And when I went to his funeral, after the funeral, I sat down at his piano, and I started just kind of tinkering away at the piano. And then I felt his presence really strongly, and all of a sudden I could play piano. I just started playing a song, and I was not a pianist. And it was such a strong connection to him. I felt him there, and it was almost as if he had opened up a gift for me. I don't know if it was like a soul connection from maybe something that I had already had, as far as maybe in a past life I had played piano and he opened up that veil for me so I could remember. But I experienced that, and then that night I woke up in the middle of the night at 3:00 in the morning, and I heard him speaking to me, telling me he was okay. So I think a lot of people have these experiences, and I do believe that right after you pass away, some souls choose to linger for a little bit to make sure that their loved ones are sort of taken care of, and they're there feeling like they need to be there for them energetically and nurture them. And then at some point they realize that they're not going to come back, and they'll move on into the light.
What is happening when you are thinking about dead people? I mean, well, I think you understand the question. I mean, some people just don't.
Well, I think that our souls they're incarnate here. We're having a physical existence, and then after you die, your soul lives on. Your body stays here, and your soul goes into this spiritual realm, which is much higher density. So, and souls can travel, and they can come here. They can. And I think that whenever you think about someone who's passed, they can present themselves to you. A lot of times in dreams, this happens. And sometimes in times of need or heightened stress or whatever that looks like, souls will come to comfort you, because we are connected, and you have, some people believe, and I believe this, that you have a soul group. So you're going to have certain souls that you're super connected to in not just this incarnation, but in other incarnations as well.
Septum Sensory Perception, SSP.
Nice.
Goes along with the secret space program.
Perfect. That's your superpower.
SSP. Yeah, that's you got to love the fader knots. Thank you so much. And again, let's go over a few things really quick. How can everybody get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me by going to thedivinefrequency.com and checking that out. You can also email me at thedivinefrequency@gmail.com.
And you mentioned earlier that you're working with Stillness of the Storm. What are you doing over there?
Yes, I work with Stillness in the Storm. I'm the COO there, and I run the internship program. And we are doing all kinds of stuff. It's a news media website, alternative media. It's legit. We've got a lot coming in 2018. We've got a brand new website we're rolling out, and we are accepting interns. So if you want to submit an application, go to stillnessinthestorm.com. And
when's the next webinar?
The next webinar is probably going to be in the next couple months. I would say after Conscious Life Expo.
Okay, and you'll be out here once again. What's your presentation on? I think you said magic.
It's going to be on magic, and it's all leading up to me publishing my book here in the next few weeks. So hopefully that book will be published before Conscious Life Expo, and I'll have some copies with me. So, yep, I'm going to be publishing my first book, What is Magic? And it's about a transformative shift in consciousness that I had that completely catalyzed an awakening in me. And the book is about integrating and reconciling old belief systems. This is the most important thing that I have created to date. I am super stoked to publish this book. I've come in contact with some really crazy supernatural and otherworldly situations over the course of my life, and I've had some unbelievable and amazing mystical experiences. People told me that I needed to write a book to share these stories, so I did.
You know, it's going to be really cool for me to take pictures of you and Rita at your author's table after your presentation signing books.
That's going to be awesome.
That is just that is just right in the front of my brain right now. And I so look forward to it. And we'll see you in a very simple 4 short weeks. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you, Jimmy, for having me. Can't wait to see you.
Thank you so much. Behave and be well.
All righty. Good night.
Good night. All right. That is Teresa Yanaros. You can follow her on Twitter at Divine Frequency. And, of course, all of her links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. And, again, tomorrow night, we're going to take things a whole nother step further. And that is with Michael Cremo and the origins of us. You know, it's going to be one of the most best shows that we can do on this subject. The origins of us. How old are we? What is the evidence of pushing back those boundaries again further and further back? And for Michael, it's millions of years. We're going to do that tomorrow night right here on Fade to Black, so get ready. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2017 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night with Michael Cremo, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.